And we're live. Hello, everybody. I am Two Bear Tom. This is the Rock Talk Brew Review, episode number 4. Today I'm gonna talk about my personal top 10 albums of the moment. Um, you know, um, purely opinionated. While I'm going through my list, let me know what your personal top 10 albums are. And these are just my top 10 albums of right now. You know, from 2000 all the way to 2020. So nothing before the year 2000. Um, like I said, tell me what your personal favorite albums are. These are some of mine. Welcome to the stream, guys. Also, share this out. Like Hellfire, follow Hellfire Radio on Facebook. We are on Instagram. We are on we stream on Twitch, hellfire.com. We got a ton of shows. We got raffles going on. We got contests. Share us out. Follow us. The 365 app. You can listen to us on the go. Listen to us in your car. Listen to us at work with earbuds on the 365 app. Check it out. We have shows for everybody. So tonight I'm gonna do my personal top 10 albums at the moment. Let me see who's jumping in. Albert, welcome. Takara, welcome. Hampton, welcome. Guys, thank you for tuning in. Susan, Kim, thank everybody for joining in. Exactly. Like, follow, share. So these are my top 10 albums. First things first, what I have today is Furious. I know I think it's very fitting too, because I know a lot of people were furious about some areas had Halloween, some places banned Halloween. So, um, very fitting. This is a IPA from Surly Brewing Company right here. Here's for all you IPA drinkers. And that one is very strong. That one might be a little too strong for me. It does have a very harsh, very hoppy, very hoppy aftertaste to it. It's very good. So the IPA drinkers very much enjoy this one. So now back, let's talk about my top 10 list. It's very all over the place. I have everything from everything to kind of like a grunge to instrumental to rap, even metal. Everything is in there. Number 10 I'm going to talk about is number 10 is I can't put the pictures up on the screen, unfortunately. The name of the group is Ala Zulu. They're on Magic Ninja Entertainment, which is, for anybody who's not familiar with Magic Ninja Entertainment, they're run by Twisted, who used to be on Psychopathic Records with ICP. They're on that label. Great for Halloween. Great Halloween album. The name of the album, I highly recommend it. It's called The Almighty. That one's at number 10 tonight. Kimberly Berry. Kimberly, thank you for joining in. Like, share us out. Like us on YouTube. Like us on Twitch, Facebook, Instagram, 365 app. You can listen to us on the go. While you're in your car, listen to some of our shows. We got shows for everybody. We got raffles going on. We have merch on the website, hellfire.com. Buy some merch, like us out, share us out. Check out some of the other shows. There's something on Hellfire for everybody. So Ala Zulu on Magic Ninja Entertainment. That's my top. That's number 10 on my list right now. It's fantastic album. I listened to it a lot yesterday for Halloween. Uh, their whole sound fits perfectly with the Halloween season. So check that out. Also, jumping over to the metal side, complete 180 from the last album. I just saw these guys back in August of 2019. It was the last show that I saw before COVID happened. Phenomenal show. I've been wanting to see this band for over 10 years. Finally did. Number 9 is Behemoth. The album is The Satanist. It came out in 2014. My opinion, that album, start to finish, is just flawless. Absolutely brilliant album, in my opinion. I still listen to it to this day, and that right now, these are all albums that I'm listening. My top 10 I'm listening to at the moment. Excuse me. And Behemoth, The Satanist, came out in 2014, and 6 years later, it's still an amazing album. So, welcome to the stream recap. Welcome to the stream, John. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Talking about my top 10 albums at the moment. I'd like to hear from you guys as well. What are some of your top 10s right now? Takara said The Archers is a newer album. I'm not too familiar with them. I have been told about them. A couple people have brought them to my attention. I don't know too much about them though, but I am gonna check them out. One band, it's an honorable mention. I don't have them in my list. Shame on me. I totally should have them in my list. Anybody that's into metalcore, and just heavy music, go out and check out the band from Japan, Crystal Lake. Great up and coming band from, just very underrated in my opinion. They deserve more recognition than they get. It's tough, being a band from Japan as well. Check out Crystal Lake. They just put out a new song about, it's not this past week, the previous week, and they also have tell them, and they also put an album out about a month or so ago. So check them out. So number 9 on the list. Number 10 was Zulu, The Almighty from 2018. Number 9 was Behemoth, The Satanist from 2014. Number 8, completely different side of the spectrum again. Guitarist, one of my all-time favorite guitarists, Buckethead. The name of the album is A Real Diamond in the Rough. Came out in 2009. Just absolutely incredible. He played in, he was in Guns N' Roses for a little while. He helped record the Chinese Democracy album. If anybody has heard that, yeah, the album kind of sucked, but his guitar work, his guitar work was probably the best part of that album. I haven't really heard anything by Buckethead that I don't like. If you haven't listened to him, listen to him. He has some stuff that is so soothing and so relaxing that you could listen to it while you fall asleep and it'll help you sleep. And then he has some other stuff that's brutally heavy as well. And, just heavy, straight instrumental music, which is fantastic. So check that out. He has tons of stuff out. Number 7, another band I feel is very underrated at the moment, Demon Hunter. Great metal band. They've been around for a long time. The name of this album is Storm the Gates of Hell. Came out in 2007. Just great band. Check them out if you haven't heard them. I just can't say enough good things about Demon Hunter. Yeah, great clean vocals, great heavy vocals. Um, they just released a double album because his clean vocals are so good, and the scream vocals are so good, and they're so well known for both styles. They put out a double album. One album was a little bit more mellow. That one was called Peace. Was mostly the clean vocals, a little bit of screaming, and then the other album that they released the same day was called War, and that one was a little bit heavier. Very little, very little of the screaming vocals, more of the heavier scream stuff, scream core. So, excuse me, if you guys haven't checked them out, definitely check them out. They're a great band, great cleans, great screams, just all around good stuff. So that was it, number 7. Number 6 for my top 10 albums at the moment. This one probably won't go anywhere. This particular album will probably stay in my top 10 due to the fact that, one, I absolutely love Chris Cornell. Rest in peace, Chris Cornell. And two, just the album itself is start to finish is just there's no, I don't, in my opinion, there's not a bad song on it. Take a minute, Lori. Welcome to the stream. Also, Elston, welcome to the stream. Savannah, welcome to the stream. Thank you for tuning in. Share this out. Like Hellfire. Thank you guys for watching and tuning in. I appreciate it. So back to also, if anybody wants to throw one of their favorite albums out there, mention it in the comments. And I'll definitely check it out if there's anything you think I need to listen to. So back to my list. Number 6 was Audioslave. Came out in 2002. Just start to finish with Chris Cornell. Basically every member, as far as I know, of Rage Against the original vocalist. As far as I know, all the other members with Chris Cornell. And when I first heard that he was joining the band, I was a little nervous. I couldn't really see him doing that style of music. And then, excuse me, Chris Cornell is one of those vocalists. I'll put him in there with Aaron Lewis, for example. He can't do anything wrong. He can't do everything that he does is great. Some of his solo stuff was, I don't know about some of his solo work. Some of it was great, and then I think the last solo album he did was just kind of weird. It's not as bad as Corey Taylor's solo album, though. Corey, that's a whole nother show for another day. You disappoint me, bro. But as far as this show is concerned, that Corey Taylor album, CMFT, I believe the name of it is, that album never came out. We're just gonna forget that that album even exists, because yeah, it was pretty terrible. When Corey Taylor tries to rap and tries to be a rapper in a song, and then that turns out to be the best song on the album, there's a problem. Anyway, I'm not gonna go on another rant about how disappointed and heartbroken I was by that. Anyway, moving forward, this album came out in the year 2000, 20 years ago. I'm an old man now, so I was young then. Had a big impact on me. I listened to this album nonstop, constantly listened to it. To this day, I still love the band. Number 5 is an album by the band Cold. The name of the album is 13 Ways to Bleed on Stage. Cold was made popular. They were discovered by Aaron Lewis, and I believe, I want to say Fred Durst, possibly Fred Durst, but um, Aaron Lewis is actually featured on 2 songs on that particular album. He's featured on the title track Bleed, and he's also featured on my mind just went blank. He's featured on the song Send in the Clowns, also on there. And, you know, 13 Ways to Bleed on Stage, every song on there is just, every song on there is a banger. And one of the, I remember when the first time I listened to the album, and it ended up getting me through a lot. And one thing that really stuck out in my mind is people always talk about how much they love music. People always talk about how much music gets them through a lot of difficult times. And when I listened to the title track, Bleed, which is the last song on the album, by the way, also features Aaron Lewis. The one of the lines in the song is, "My love is music, and it helps me bleed." I believe is what it says. My love is music, and it helps me bleed. And I interpreted that as, it helps helps you get your emotions out, and it helps you deal with whatever you're feeling at that point in time. And when I heard that song, I didn't quite realize until I got older, the impact that a song like that and lyrics like that could have on somebody, especially if they're going through a lot and they're going through some difficult times. But I definitely recommend checking it out. It has more of a grungy sound, kind of on the side of, a little bit on the grungy side. If you're gonna check a song out, check out Just Got Wicked was a big song for them. End of the World was a big song for them. And then obviously the one that I've been talking about, the song Bleed. Definitely a big song. I might even post it on the Hellfire Facebook page so people can check it out and be able to uh, hear it for themselves. Takara, Catacombs from Like a Storm. Is that the name of the album? Is that the name of the artist? If you could let me know in the comments, please. I'll definitely check it out. I'm not sure if that's the name of the artist or Albert, Killswitch End of Heartache. That's my personal favorite Killswitch Engage album, End of Heartache, and my personal favorite Killswitch Engage song. Jesse, I love Jesse. I was excited when he came back to the band. But Killswitch album was phenomenal. That one, all their albums have been good, all of them. But I feel like, if I could pick one album of theirs, that's my top, would be End of Heartache. So I agree with that 100%. Definitely in, not in my top 10. That might be maybe my top 20. But yeah, absolutely great album. And if you like that, check out Howard. Once Howard left, he was not fired either. A lot of people say that he was fired from the band. He was not fired from the band. But if you enjoy that, check out his newer band, They had to change their name for legal issues. The name of the first album, I believe, was called Light the Torch, which was a great album, by the way. I can't remember offhand what the band changed their name to. I know Light the Torch was let me see if I can look it up real quick. Was the name of the original name, I believe. I'll tell you right now. Actually, no, I'm sorry. Light the Torch is what they changed. The original name of the band that he had after he left Killswitch Engage was called Devil You Know. Had a very similar sound to the End of Heartache album. A little bit more clean vocals versus the screaming vocals that Killswitch had. So it's still there, but a little bit more clean on this one. And due to legal issues and everything, they changed the name from Devil You Know to Light the Torch. So if you like the End of Heartache album as much as I do, and you just like Killswitch Engage as much as I do, check out those check them out. You won't be disappointed, I promise you. Okay, so back to my list. Number 4. Now I know for a fact, Cindy, not to jump, Cindy, welcome to the stream. Also, Mike, welcome to the stream as well. Matthew, welcome to the stream. Thank you for tuning in. Number 4, I know that quite a few people, at least one person specifically watching the stream is very, very familiar with. And number 4 on my list, Linkin Park, the Hybrid Theory album. And again, one of those albums where start to finish was just amazing. Amazing. When I was younger, me and my sister used to go to concerts all the time. She was my concert buddy. Now I have somebody else who I don't make my sister suffer through, all the screaming acts anymore. Like, she was a good sport though. She suffered through a lot of shows. And now I have somebody else I make suffer through that. But so we saw we saw Linkin Park shortly after Hybrid Theory came out. Thank God, because rest in peace, Chester. That was another sad story. But they recently just released, I want to say it was the 25th anniversary of the album, with a whole bunch of B-sides and stuff. A lot of B-sides, demos, instrumentals, remixes. It was the 20th. I'm looking right now. The 20th anniversary of Hybrid Theory, if you can believe that. They included the remix album they did with I don't even, like, the name of it escapes me, but it was good. My December was one of my favorite songs that was actually by Linkin Park from that time period, and unfortunately, they cut it from the original album. So I was glad to see that they added My December back into the mix of the album, and everything has been remastered. Excuse me. Remastered, remixed, everything sounds great. So check out that 20th anniversary edition of Hybrid Theory. So, just like every other show, I always have 2 beers, so I had Furious from Surly Brewing Company. The other one's not really craft beer, but I'm gonna drink it anyway. It was my show. So there. Last seasonal beer, and it's Pumpkinhead by Shipyard. One of my favorites. I'm not gonna get into um that's just yummy. I love that beer. Um I'm still drinking the the Hershey's chocolate Yuling that I had on the show last week that was recommended to me by a friend. Still hooked on that. I think I got like 3 of them left. Absolutely great beer. Um, so uh, I'll be probably have maybe one of those when I'm done with the show. Maybe not though, because I got these other 2 beers that we are gonna finish up. So back to my list. I I don't know, Linkin Park. I remember when Linkin Park came out, and I hated on them at first because the first song that I saw by them was One Step Closer, and I went on to love that song. But I remember when I first saw it, I hated on them hard, man, because I just felt like they didn't know what they wanted to do. You know, you got this guy coming out. He's got like spiked red hair. I think he had red. I think Chester had red hair at that point, but he's got like spiked red hair. He's coming out. He's all angry. He's like, you know, he's like he's ready to break something like Fred Durst. And then you have this other guy coming out. You know what I'm saying? The skinny guy with like brown short hair. He's coming out and he's rapping. It's like, make up your mind as to what you want to do. Are you gonna be like are you trying to be a rapper, or are you trying to be like a rock band? Like, what are you trying to do, bro? You know? So I remember kind of hating on them for that at first. Um, I don't know. And then, and, I did end up picking up the album. I still bought CDs back then. That was 20 years ago. I think everybody bought CDs 20 years ago. So I remember buying the album when it came out, and I think to this day that In the End is still my favorite track off of Hybrid Theory. Um, I would say Crawling is probably a close second, but In the End, out of songs that made it to the album, because I really enjoyed December, but that was actually cut from the album and then re-added for the 20th anniversary of the album. But I don't know. And then seeing them live, I wish I got a chance to see them live again, just before he died. Um, I do gotta say, I remember when Linkin Park released their last album, One More Light, and I listened to it and I was like, wow, this album is like total shit. It wasn't because it was so vastly different. It was almost like pop music. Like they specifically tried to make the album for radio play. But looking back on it, um, the title track to that song, to that album, One More Light. That's a really, really good song. That's a really good song. I really enjoy it now. Considering back then, I was just so angry, I think, that, the direction that the band went. But, you know, unfortunately, it happens a lot with other bands, is how they always get bigger when the person passes away. Rest in peace, Chester. To continue with my list, number 3 is Seether. Their album from 2005. Comma and Effect. Absolutely my favorite Seether album. Another band that I feel has been, let me go to their stuff right here, that has been fairly consistent with all their releases. They kind of went down a little bit with some of their later stuff. They got, a little bit too sappy, a little bit too depressing and slow, and made too many ballads. But this album, Comma Effect, it's the album that had Remedy on it. It's also the album that had The Gift, which is one of my all-time favorite Seether tracks. Truth is one of my favorite tracks. I've always been a big fan. I'd say about 2 years ago, I got to see them for the first time ever. Good friend of mine, my new concert buddy that I make suffer through all the shows. I had never seen them as well, and she's into them, and we went to see Seether, and the only complaint that I have, they sounded exceptional live. I couldn't believe how close they sounded to the album. My only complaint was that Sean, the vocalist, virtually played in the dark. Like, he had very, very little light on him throughout the entire show. Everybody else had, the typical spotlights on them, and you could see them all really well. For whatever reason, Sean, it was very dark over by him, almost like he didn't want to, for lack of a better term, not to use a cliche, but he didn't want to be in the spotlight. So where everybody else had spotlights on them and, were clearly visible, he was in the dark. And he was actually a distance away from the rest of the band members. So not only was he darker, but he was also isolated from the other band members. It was weird. But he did sound, he sounded just like the record. Actually, he sounded better than the album. So, I can't hate on that. They sounded great, and they played some of my favorite songs. I was very excited when they played Broken, which, they released two versions of that. They released the original one, and then they redid it. Everybody knows of the remake of the song with Amy Lee. When Amy Lee dated Sean from Seether, they did that song together, and still to this day one of my favorite Seether songs. I've always been a big fan of it. So, this beer is really good. I need some more beer. So, guys, not really. You guys, tell me what are some of your favorite bands? What are some of your favorite albums at the moment? Is something that you guys been listening to the last couple months. So number 2 and number 1 of the countdown, not the countdown, but my countdown list, I guess countdown, but the list, countdown on the list that I made, were extremely difficult to pick because there's so many albums that I could have put on here. Another one that comes to mind, I'll honorable mention, this dude put Barbie Girl. Mike, I love you, man. But Barbie Girl. Oh, Mike. Oh, that's great. That made my whole night, man. I'll drink to you. That made my whole night. Oh, man. Mike's a good dude. In the comments right here, he also works for Hellfire Radio. He has a show coming up soon as well. Big into horror movies, make sure you check out his show when it comes out. Mike, if you want to post the name of the show up, give you a shout out. But definitely tune into his show. I'm looking forward to seeing it myself. It's gonna be great. I'm a huge horror movie buff myself, so right now I'm watching the entire Halloween movie series. I've only made it through number 1 so far, which is terrible because I've been so busy. But I'm about to watch the other like 8 movies. But yeah, check out Mike's show. So number 2 on my list here is by a band that I feel is extremely, extremely underrated. Each album they put out got progressively better. When I heard their very first album, I was blown away by how different their sound was. Excuse me. I was blown away by, and I just lost my phone, but I was blown away by how different their sound was. And the name of the band is Being as an Ocean. And I absolutely loved the first album. Really enjoyed the second album. I was a little nervous though because after the first 2 albums, the one of the vocalists left, so they had to get a new vocalist. And usually when that happens, the band is never the same. They're never able to recapture. Um, they're never able to recapture that success they had with the original vocalist. People are always gonna hate them. So what happened in this case was I feel like it got better. I feel the band got better with the new vocalist. The album that really made a huge impact on me was the name of the album is Waiting for Morning to Come, and that came out in 2017. And still to this day, I listen to that album constantly. The first song on there is a song called Black and Blue. Really showcases the new vocalist, the clean vocalist, and then the other guy. They have the screamer comes in, and you have this very mellow, slow music, and then the screams come in over, a mellow, soft tone of the music, and it's it's perfect sounding in my opinion. And then they have another song on there, Glow. You can go on YouTube and I really wish I could play some of this stuff in my show because so you guys would be able to get an idea of what I'm talking about. But the Being as an Ocean in my opinion, deserves the number 2 spot, or at least deserves it in the top 5 at least for right now, because I listen to that album constantly and it's one of my favorites at the moment. And honestly, I just can't get enough of that album. My next thing is to see them live. I really, really want to see them live. I've heard they're incredible live. So that's what I'm hoping for right now. So what do you guys think? Let me throw it over to you guys real quick before I bring up my number 1 album. What's your guys, anybody that's still here that's watching right now, what is your number 1 album at the moment? What have you guys been listening to constantly? Mine is like I said, mine is coming up that made a big impact. Is it something new? Is it an older album? Is it a brand new album? or what albums are you excited for? I'll tell you one that I'm excited for. This past Friday, Rob Zombie, for the first time, I think in like 6 years, released a brand new song. I gotta say, it has a long ass fucking title. I'm not gonna sit here and look up the title. It's like 17 words. I don't know. It's a long title. But I gotta say, listening to it, I wasn't expecting much. But it's more along the lines of like Hellbilly Deluxe. It's not exactly that sound, but it's closer to that, and that really um that really piques my interest. So I'm hoping that the rest of the album sounds like that, because if it does, then Rob Zombie's back on his game. He really is. Like Rob Zombie is he's back, man. Hopefully he'll stick to music and stop with some of the sucky movies that he did. That's a whole nother show for another time. I don't really talk about movies. I don't know. But um, that's I don't know. Just if you're gonna make a movie, make something good, bro. Because some of the last few that you've done were terrible. Albert mentioned Tool for Inoculum. I think that right here, I'll put it up on the screen actually. I feel like that album gets way more hate than it deserves. The one complaint that I have about that album is not that the album was bad. I think the album is actually really good, but it had too many interludes in it, and even some of the interludes were 9 minutes long. Excuse me, okay? Every song on the album was like 17 minutes. So, and then you listen to the song, and the song ends up being really good, like really good. But you had to listen to 10 minutes of bullshit to get to the actual song. I don't want to listen to 10 minutes of like crickets freaking chirping or whatever is before the song to get to the actual song. I just want to listen to it. Like, and then if the song is 17 minutes, okay, that's cool, you know? But it's like I shouldn't have to sit there like, okay, I'm waiting for it to start. Like come on, man. Like so the album, all around Albert, I agree with you. That was a great album. Some of the songs on there, oh my god, were just, I don't know if it was worth the 12-year wait or whatever it took them to make it. I can tell you one thing I can tell you about the Tool album, and I see that Todd mentioned AC/DC, and I'm gonna get to AC/DC because I'm super excited for that too. But one thing I can tell you about the Tool album is that I don't know if it took them, I don't know if it was worth the 12-year wait for them, or however long it was to release that. I'm not sure. But once it came out, hands down, it was a great album. It was good. You can tell you can tell that, they actually put the time in to really produce it well, to write it well, and they did have a little bit of a different sound than the previous album, 10,000 Days. I believe 10,000 Days was the first one. If not, correct me, because I get 10,000 Days in the other one there. I can't think of the name right now. My mind's going blank from lack of sleep. But I get 10,000 Days in the other one mixed up. But um, those two confused. But I wasn't a big fan of 10,000 Days. My favorite Tool album of all time is by far Adama. Like Edema, I just feel like Edema was start to finish an amazing album. Amazing. Eulogy, I think Eulogy is one of my all-time favorite Tool songs. You know, I know when you talk to a lot of people, they everyone always goes for Undertow. Oh, Undertow is the best thing they ever did. Yeah, Undertow is phenomenal. And I saw Tool live on the Undertow tour. But you're right. The Fear Inoculum album, great. Now, if the Guns N' Roses Chinese Democracy album turned out half as good with half the amount of time it took them to make the Tool album, we'd be talking differently about Guns N' Roses right now. Slash should have been paid to rejoin the band after listening to that abomination of a CD, because Chinese Democracy was awful. Why Slash and Duff ever agreed to rejoin the band after Axl putting out such a god awful album that took them 15 years to release, and they come up with that? Come on. Anyway, I'll end up ranting about this for another 15 minutes. So I'm gonna get to Todd's comment right here. Todd, AC/DC, have you seen or heard the new song, Todd? And if you have, what are your opinions on that? Because last I heard with the AC/DC was that before that song came out, the last thing I heard was that Brian Johnson was out of the band. Due to his hearing issues, they kicked him out. They kicked Brian Johnson out because he had the hearing problems. Phil Rudd, the drummer, he had some legal stuff that he was going through, so they kicked him out for that. I forget exactly why they kicked him out, or what the legal stuff he was going through. I want to say it was for assault, or I don't know what it was, but I know Phil Rudd had some legal shit that was going on, and that's why they removed him from the band. And then Axl Rose took his spot on tour, and they did some shows with Axl Rose. And then during the tour with Axl Rose, they were talking about how Axl was in the studio, possibly working on new AC/DC material with them. Now, I had mentioned this to another employee of Hellfire Radio about the fact that Axl Rose had joined AC/DC, and he brought up a really, really good point that I hadn't thought of, and that is, if you take Axl Rose from like years ago, like say, I don't know, maybe the Use Your Illusion era, where he still had a really good voice, he might have been able to pull it off. Now, he's definitely doesn't belong in AC/DC, but if it came down to it and there was really nobody else to do it, he might possibly be able to pull it off. But nowadays, the way he sounds now live, no, there's no, like, that's just like, they should just quit at that point. If they can't get Brian Johnson and they're gonna replace Brian Johnson with Axl Rose, to just call it quits. Like, just stop, because now you're gonna destroy the legacy of the band by going out with somebody who can't even come close to, who's just gonna make all the songs sound like shit. And I gotta say, I was a little impressed. It does have a little bit of a different sound, in my opinion, anyway. Like, it's still AC/DC, but I feel like they did try to mix it up a little bit and not just be like, sound like every other 50 something songs that they have. But I liked it. I liked it a lot. Unfortunately, I AC/DC with me is like, it's like Motorhead, where I didn't really get into them until way, way too late. Like they had a couple of songs here and there that I really enjoyed, like Hell's Bells, uh, um, Rock and Roll and Noise Pollution, Back in Black, so like all their big songs. And I didn't really get fully into the band until like a year ago. Same thing with Motorhead. Like Motorhead, they had like Ace of Spades would come on, and that was legit like the only Motorhead song I knew. But now I have every Motorhead album, all like I don't know, they got like 30 albums or something. So I have like all the Motorhead albums, on my phone now, and I'm huge into them now. And rest in peace, Lemmy. You know, so we've lost too many people. Um, Finish up my list, my countdown here. The number one album from 2000 till now. And I know that one person in here probably will not, maybe two people in here will not be surprised by this. This was extremely difficult because there is so much music and so many albums that are so close to my heart, and so many albums that I could have put in the number one spot. But in order to make the number one spot, it has to have a big impact on me in some form or another. It has to make, it has to have, it has to really strike with me in some way, at least at the point in time when it came out. And the number one on my list is Slipknot, Iowa from 2001. I saw Slipknot when they first came out, before the self-titled was out. I saw them, 99, I believe, at Ozfest. The very first band that played. They were the opening band. They all came out, their orange jumpsuits, and I remember I was there with my best friend, my brother at the time, and they came out, and and I remember we both looked at each other, and we were like, "What the fuck is this?" And and then they started playing, and you got 9 guys. They're all jumping around. They literally beating the shit out of each other on stage, hitting each other with stuff, kicking each other, throwing stuff, and it was just chaos. Anybody that has seen them live, if you haven't seen them live, it's not even about just being a concert. It's a show. It really is. Like I took my poor sister, I took her to see them a couple of times. She can't understand anything they say anyway, but it is entertaining. It is a show. I remember one time I saw them when Joey was still in the band, and the drum set was on like this platform, and then the platform rose up and it went vertical and it spun around. And he's literally playing drums as it's like spinning around. It was like the craziest thing I'd ever seen in my life. Like I've never seen anybody do a drum solo with the drums spinning around. Like he was upside down. It was crazy. It was crazy. Like so it's like tilted. So he's upside down. He's like, oh, it was nuts. The drum set was moving everywhere. It was the craziest thing I'd ever seen. And that the Iowa album had songs like Left Behind was on there. People Equal Shit was on there. Disaster Piece was on there. So I mean, it had some of their biggest songs, and to this day, it's considered to be their favorite. It's considered to be their best album. I think that's debatable. It might be overall their best album. It's not. It might not be my. Lately, I've been listening to some of their later stuff more so than their earlier stuff. I find myself liking their later stuff better. Maybe because I'm older. I don't know. But yeah. So I'll review it through again. Number 10, Allah Zulu the Almighty from 2018. Number 9, Behemoth the Satanist from 2014. Number 8, Buckethead, A Real Diamond in the Rough from 2009. Number 7 was Demon Hunter Storm the Gates of Hell from 2007. Number 6 was Audioslave from 2002. Number 5 was Cold from 13 Ways to Bleed on Stage from 2000. Number 4 was Linkin Park Hybrid Theory from 2000. Number 3 was Karma and Effect by Seether from 2005. Number 2 was Being as an Ocean. The name of the album was Waiting for Morning to Come from 2017. And then number 1 was Slipknot's Iowa. So thank you everybody for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Again, share out, like Hellfire Radio Facebook page, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitch, download the 265 app, listen to us on the go, with some earphones in, check us out. We have shows for everybody, all, horror, beer, music, paranormal, weed culture, just everything. We have shows for everybody. So check us out. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. Take care of yourself. Stay safe, and have a good night. Bye, guys.